Hello everybody, Razorblade Mango here, and welcome to another episode of Popcorn Mango. Today I'm going to be talking about Kubo and the Two Strings, which is easily one of my most anticipated films of 2016. It's my most anticipated film of the summer, and I finally got to see it. And now I'll just spend a few minutes telling you what I thought about it. First of all, it makes me sad that this movie is not doing very well financially. And it's a real shame, and it goes to show it makes me very cynical about the what modern family entertainment attracts attention out there. Like, you'll get absolute shit like what the people at Blue Sky do. You get, of course, the stuff that Illumination Entertainment does, which I think is just generic and not very noteworthy. Even Pixar these days, as great as Inside Out was, most of what they've done recently has just been either good or eh. Like, I forgot to do a Popcorn Mango for Finding Dory. I didn't like it, long story short. But it just made me weary of a lot of animated films coming out these days. I think the problem with most of them is that they're very afraid to take risks. They want to stick to the same shit, the same formula, and it really shows a stark contrast between something as special and unique as Kubo and the Two Strings and all the other crap out there. Like, all you have to do is go see this movie, which you should do because it's really fucking good, and watch all the trailers for the movies that come before Kubo. Like, they showed the trailers for these movies called The Wild Side, which was this crappy looking CGI animated movie where, of course, all the animals have to be sassy and loud and irritating, and you got the slapstick humor in there that appeals to the kiddies, and it's a movie that talks down to kids, and it's just so mediocre and shitty, and I just was just immediately put off by it. And then you get what I think is probably the worst trailer I've ever seen for Storks, this fucking movie where these birds, I don't even know what the hell is going on in the trailer. I've seen it twice. I saw the trailer for it before Finding Dory, and I just had to cover my ears and close my eyes because I just could not take 2 minutes of this trailer assaulting my brain, assaulting my senses, and that's exactly what I did for this movie. I walked out during the trailer. I never walk out during trailers, but when that fucking Storks trailer popped up again, I went, oh shit, I ain't going through this again. So I just walked out, went to the bathroom, came back, and thank God the trailer was over. And even the Illumination Entertainment movie Sing, it looks decent compared to what I'm used to from Illumination Entertainment, which is mostly crap. But even then, it's a very generic-looking CGI animated movie where you got the pop culture references and the music, the pop music, and the sassy, crude humor and stuff like that. It's just a lot of animated movies, particularly stuff that's family-friendly, is just condescending and works completely against what my idea of animated films should be, particularly family-friendly films like Kubo and the Two Strings, and this is where I'm going to actually start talking about Kubo and the Two Strings now. One of the things I greatly admire about the movie, even with its problems, it's something I greatly admire about Laika in general, who I think are the new Studio Ghibli. They are not afraid to take risks. They're not, even with films of theirs that don't quite work. Like, I did not like The Box Trolls, but you don't see a film like The Box Trolls, and even with its problems, it has a lot more admirable qualities and nobility to it. It's a failure, but it's a noble failure nonetheless, where even if I didn't like it, I still I still think it's more memorable for how strange and out there it is, and what a new kind of voice it portrays through these animators and the storytellers and the directors and the actors. I still think Paranorman is their high point. I think Kubo is their third best film. But one of the things I greatly admire about Kubo is that even though it's a family-friendly movie, even though there were a ton of kids in the theater, it is not afraid to get into some really potentially distressing and disturbing stuff. I'm not just talking about the scary imagery, which there are some stuff in the movie that I'd be very cautious about taking my little one to go see it, because it's pretty frightening. Like, you've got these like creepy witch sisters, which even managed to creep me out. It was more unnerving than most horror films I've seen. Just the design of the sisters, and how it's like a silhouette at first, and then it just morphs into two silhouettes. It's so creepy, and that was probably my favorite character design out of the whole film. And not only just like creepy stuff, like there's a giant skeleton, there's like monsters and demons and stuff like that. I'm talking about certain themes like the death of parents, and the fact that the mom at the beginning of the movie suffers from memory loss, and she has something that could, very easily, if you were to take her to a doctor, could very easily be labeled Alzheimer's or dementia, and it's heavy stuff to put. I mean, and this is speaking from somebody who has and has had family members who have suffered from dementia and Alzheimer's. That I've seen this firsthand, and I greatly admire that they put something like this in not only an animated film, but in a not a children's film, but something that's family friendly, something that a family will go see, that a child might not understand, and they might learn through Kubo's example what to do in this kind of situation when, say, like their grandparent, say a kid goes to see this movie who has a grandparent or a mother or a father that's suffering from dementia, where they basically, like a single parent that's suffering from dementia, and they basically have to become the parent, like they have to parent the parent. But like seeing it through the eyes of this animated film, I think can maybe be a comforting experience, even though it's set in a fantastical setting. And the reason for the mom's memory loss is not dementia, but they never really fully explain it, which is what I like. They still have some air of mystery. It has an air of mystery to it, and mysticism, but it's a very real world situation that they managed to put in this animated film about Japanese folklore and this magic based world where everybody is just so casually used to magic, that I find it just really brave of them to put something like that in there. Also, like I said, the death of the parents. Like, if you've seen the trailer, the mom dies, and it's not just, and it's strange how the wording can also reflect on the maturity of the writers and the storytellers. Is that they don't use words like normally in a lot of animated films these days, whenever somebody dies, they use a wording like, your mom is gone, or this person did not survive, or something like that. The wording they use in here is dead. Like, they say dead, killed, murdered, stuff like that. Like, just the wording. Like when you hear the word kill or dead in a kid's film, it adds it adds this extra punch to it, because especially if you're like a kid watching it, they don't try to soften the blow with explaining to Kubo that yes, your mom is dead. Your mom sacrificed her life to save you and to bring the monkey to life. And I like that it doesn't shy away from that. It doesn't shy away from scary imagery. It doesn't shy away from potentially scary themes. very real themes, like I said, death of a parent, the dementia based stuff, and then lots of other stuff too. But it's just brave. It's brave how they put this stuff in, and in an age where a lot of animation is just relatively risk free, it's refreshing to see Laika come in and add some grit and thematic punch to a lot of the stuff that doesn't feel like they're talking down to the kids. They're treating the children with respect, which I think is what the best animated films do. I think those are the ones that treat the young with a sense of dignity and don't treat them like they're stupid, like a lot of animated films do. Another thing I really like about the film, that I really loved, is the animation. And because of how easy it is these days to make animated films, particularly CGI films, and how many of them are released by the dozens, you don't see a lot of handcrafted animated films, because, and then judging by the financial takeaway that this movie is getting, the very unfortunately underwhelming financial takeaway this movie is getting, it shows that the market still prefers CGI. But there is something about stuff like hand-drawn animation, stop-motion animation, watercolored based stuff that has a personal touch to it that CGI animation, like in very rare situations, do I actually think, like, I think Up is one of the better examples. I think WALL-E is one of the better examples. I think the entire Toy Story trilogy is an example. How to Train Your Dragon, the first one, is a good example. I think very rarely does the human qualities of the animators come through in the animation itself, because it's not built by hand. It's built by a computer. All they could do, and it's not, and I'm not discrediting CGI animation. There's a lot of CGI animation out there that I fucking love. I just talked about how much I really like Sausage Party, so I want to stress that I'm not talking shit about CGI animation. But I think objectively there is something more human about an animated film built by human hands. And when you see the video of these people at Laika just going through hell, taking all this time in the world and all this money to make these, even like down to the smallest details, like, this is a world handcrafted and made through unbelievably strenuous effort to look real, to look lifelike. And one of my friends that I went to go see it with, he was shocked that the movie was stop motion, because it has this incredible fluidity to it that I think only CGI animation can get a lot of the times when you're getting something like this. It has that fluidity that I don't think a lot of people associate with stop motion, but because their technique by now is so professional and incredible and revolutionary, that it came as quite a shock that it was stop motion. And it came as a shock if I forgot a lot of the times that it was stop motion, because I can't process how long this must have taken to, like, there's a scene where the monkey is going through a snowstorm, and I have to think that they went in and individually moved the hair on the monkey, like, for each shot. They had to go in, and I still can't believe this, they had to move the hair every time they wanted to take a new frame, and that must have taken months, ages to do, even for something as small as, like, a quick movement, because it takes time. It takes a lot of hard work and time for stop motion animation compared to CGI films. And I have to give an enormous round of applause to the people at Laika that go through hell to get these films made. They are clearly passionate about what they do. But again, the animation really wouldn't mean much, or wouldn't be as impactful if the story itself was not good. And thankfully, it's a very good story. It's a very good film. I don't think quite great. I think there are problems with this movie. I guess I'll get into that. One, I think the pacing could have been a lot better. I think the pacing of the humor and the sad scenes and some of the late game twists that happen, I think are rather odd. I might like them more if I saw the film again, but upon first viewing, I think it is a problem. And I don't, and even though I was on the verge of like my eyes like watering up in certain scenes, but I don't think, unlike Paranorman, I don't think this film quite has the emotional punch that it's going for. There are scenes that, obviously you can tell that they're going for tears, or they're going for like, and it worked for a lot of people in the theater, because we saw it with a decent sized crowd, and I could hear adults like sniffling in the back. I could hear kids kind of like hiding like the tears in their eyes and stuff like that. And it's, it's great. I'm happy that it's getting the emotional response from people that they want. But for me personally, it did not go to that length quite like Paranorman does, or even quite like Up or Wall-E do. But it does some strange things, particularly at the end as well. And I'm not going to give away the ending. And there's fucking reviews out there that give away the ending to the movie. What's going on? Stop doing that. Let people go see the movie to find out what the ending is. Seeing the ending was just, it was strange, and it's something I've never really seen an animated film do. Maybe I can think of some examples, but the ending is not going to be what you expect. I'll just say that much. But it worked from a thematic standpoint, and I think it's very heartwarming, but not quite the tears in my eyes reaction like I had at the end of like the final big punches of when Marnie was there at the end, where I just walked out of the theater like my face was red from crying. But this time I did not have that response to it, which disappointed me. But it's still a very good film. I haven't, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I've been going on way too long. I haven't even talked about how great the characters are. I haven't talked about the music, which is great. The opening, which I loved. But it's a very good film. Very, very good. Would I recommend Kubo and the Two Strings? Absolutely. If you have seen any film this weekend, I know like the other big ones are like War Dogs and the Ben-Hur remake. Kubo. Go watch Kubo. If you have any choice this weekend or week, Kubo. Kubo and the Two Strings. Highly recommend it from me. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Kubo and the Two Strings if you've seen it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm not sure what movie I'll be covering next. Maybe Kingslave is the next one. Maybe if I see it between now and whenever. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.